contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal.
If trafficking of fentanyl is up because of the president's changes, it is his fault.
The SOTU is dumb and it should die and we should kill it. All of the reasons why I think we should do away with the State of the Union address by the President of the United States. Oh, also Joe Biden gave the State of the Union address last night. It was a yelling match between the president, an old man, and the country. President yells at country, country yells back. All of that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Follow Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Follow Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is February 8th, Wednesday, the year of our Lord, 2023. And you heard that right at the beginning. The SOTU is dumb. It has been dumb for 100 years. And it should die and go away. And yesterday, I think the president did a great job at facilitating the antiquated old political speech disguised as an official address out the door and into the pasture. Joe Biden yesterday gave the SOTU, the State of the Union address. Old man yells at country, country yells back. I want to make this as clear as I can at the upfront of the show. I think the State of the Union address is dumb and should go away. And I've thought that since the Obama presidency. When Barack Obama was up there giving literally a political speech disguised as an official address to the joint session of Congress, I thought, this is dumb. Why are we letting him do this sort of thing? And then Donald Trump gave his speeches, and I thought the same thing. I agreed much more with the things that Donald Trump was saying, but I thought the same thing of why are we putting on this political reality TV show, and what is it actually accomplishing? Years ago, I did a deep dive, and by deep dive, I mean I read the Wikipedia page of the SOTU and found out what its actual purpose was for. According to the Constitution, the President of the United States is required to give an address to the joint session of Congress on how the country is doing. Up until the 1920s, that address was a letter just written from the president giving the people, Congress, an example or an up-to-date current event newsletter annually of what the federal government was doing, as the president is the executive of the federal government. The only goal was to let Congress know what was happening in the country, because at the time, information wasn't so readily available and people had to hunt for it in a lot of different places. And newspapers didn't travel as quickly as the internet. So at the time, it made sense that the president was required to give an update to Congress about how things were going and how things were hoping to progress. He also was allowed to, or required to, give some sort of agenda of what direction he thought the country should be going, and that was the back and forth dialogue. In 1923, I believe, was it 100 years ago? I'm not entirely sure. About 100 years ago, Woodrow Wilson decided to, instead of sending a letter to Congress, I'm going to go to a joint session of Congress and give a speech, and it was all downhill from there. If you're looking at the State of the Union address as something that is designed for the administration to give Congress an accurate depiction of where the country is and what we're doing with the laws that Congress has passed, that is no longer the case and hasn't been for a very long time, especially in the modern age of media where everybody already knows what's going on. And the only reason we have a SOTU is for the president to sit there and lecture the country about what he or she thinks they should be happening the rest of the time. And also with zero chance for rebuttal and debate. Again, it was like this when George Bush was in office. I'm just listing off the presidents I was alive and cognizant for. It was like this when George Bush was in office. It was like this when Obama was in office. It was like this when Trump was in office. And it's like this now when Joe Biden is in office. It is just a political speech for some reason that everybody pays attention to, where the president of the United States gets to sit up there and say whatever they dang well want. And nobody can say anything back to it. It is a ridiculous practice, and we should get rid of it. Having said that, we have some clips for you of some of the best moments. Now, I think the clips that I have gathered from this State of the Union address are kind of furthering my cause that Joe Biden is ushering the State of the Union out the door. Again, as it is ridiculous and needs to be done away with, I think he's doing his part to make it a farce and a yelling match between an old man and the rest of the country. And I think that sort of sentiment and that sort of feel is going to make everybody look at the SOTU and go, what in the heck is this? Why are we paying attention to this at all? All right. This is a longer clip, but I feel like this kind of summarizes the entirety of the feel of the room and the back and forth. And it literally felt like old man yells at country, country yells back. In the way of British Parliament, the president said some things that were just blatantly not true. Not talking about like, oh, well, I disagree with this point. And if you look at the statistics, it's this. No, he just flat out said things that aren't true. He basically got up there and said the equivalent of, and in other news, due to my leadership, whales can now fly. You heard me correctly. Whales can jump out of the water, flap their wings, and fly to Mars. That's how we're going to get there. That's effectively the equivalent of what the president said in a lot of ways. Usually, the State of the Union is an address where they say things that are like, that's kind of, you're fudging the numbers a little bit. And there's technically, I guess, we got rid of technicalities with this one, and he just flat out said things that aren't true, and Republicans in the audience weren't having it. This is a long-ish clip, but I feel like it is an indicative of the entirety of the speech and where it's going from here. I hope it dies. I want it to die. I would love to help kill it. Watch this, and by the way, if you haven't already, there's a lot of people watching today. I would love it if you could click the little like button and the little share button. Would really, really appreciate you doing so. It really, really does help us out. You wouldn't imagine just how much it keeps the algorithm rolling, especially if you're watching on Facebook. So again, if you wouldn't mind, would really, really appreciate you clicking the little like button that's down here, or the reaction button. Maybe this makes you very upset, and or the little share button, and let us know in the comment section what you think. Do you think the SOTU should die, as I do? Watch this longer-ish clip, and if you didn't watch last night, this 1 minute should give you all the information you need to know about what happened last night at the joint session of Congress. Check it out.
Instead of making the wealthy pay their fair share, some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote. Well, I'm glad to see you. And I tell you, I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant, but it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks, the idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond, folks. So, folks, as we all apparently agree, Social Security and Medicare is off the books now, right? They're not to be spent. All right. Good. We got unanimity.
What? Like, okay. What is this ridiculous thing that we keep doing? Like this, again, the speech itself, I mean, we can get into like the points of it, but I'm sure you've heard that on so many other places. But I don't know, maybe I'm the only one here making the case to get rid of the SOTU altogether. Because he's just mischaracterizing things, and he knows it. It's wild. Let me see if I can get to some of these comments, because I think these comments are kind of funny. He's an angry old man. Yeah, that seems to be wow. Tony, with less of than charitable view. Biden is a worthless moron. Steven says, what about the disaster at the border? We will get to that. There's actually some fantastic clips there, including Byron Donalds on CNN that we will get to. Where was the one that I wanted to get to specifically? Oh, here it is. Marcel says, loved Kevin McCarthy's facial expressions. Honestly, I did too. But why is that a thing? Can anybody tell me why the acting ability of the Speaker of the House from the opposite party matters at all? This is what I'm trying to say here. The SOTU is stupid for so many reasons, and it's a bunch of politicians pretending to be aghast at something that they know that the other person is going to lie about. And we're sitting here analyzing the facial expressions of a guy who was elected to Congress to, I don't know, balance the budget and promote conservative ideals. And for some reason, we are criticizing him and judging him on his acting ability based on whether or not his facial expressions are aligned or disaligned with his party. Does nobody else think that that's a ridiculous way to do this? I don't know, man. This stuff gets me riled up. Again, all of the stuff in the speech seems to be inconsequential when it comes to the ridiculousness of the practice as a whole. I do want to get to this. This was another interesting moment. Joe Biden was talking about fentanyl and the border crisis and said people got back to him and said, it's all your fault. I'm just going to play the clip. You can watch this. This is the only other clip that I'm going to play from this. And then we're going to go to Byron Donalds, who I have a little bit of a man crush on, was on CNN, congressman from Florida, talking about how, yes, it is Joe Biden's fault. Check out this clip of him talking about fentanyl and the border and all of that jazz. If you haven't already, we'd really, really appreciate you clicking the little like button down here and the little share button. Really, really does help us out. You wouldn't believe. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, or let us know in the comment section what you think. Maybe we'll bring it up on the air here. Anyways, check this out from the speech last night. Watch this.
Doug, we're with you. Fentanyl is killing more than 70,000 Americans a year. You got it. So let's launch a major surge to stop fentanyl production and the sale and trafficking.
Yeah. So a bunch of people yelled, it's your fault. Yeah, fentanyl is screaming across the border as well as illegal immigrants. Now, I was on not to go into this too much, I was on a Israeli TV yesterday debating somebody from Canada about the U.S. border. I don't know how that transpired, but that's what happened. But what we were talking about is how drastically it has changed in the Biden administration. The first year under Joe Biden, the fiscal year 2021, there was 1.7 million border, what do they call them? They're not apprehensions, they're encounters. 1.7 million illegal border encounters from Border Patrol and illegal immigrants. That was the highest that anybody has ever seen. Now, I know the problem's exploding at the border, but I guess I wasn't quite, I was aware of how bad it was, but in terms of putting it into numbers, 1.7 million was the highest surge of illegal immigration encounters at the border ever to exist ever. This last 2022 fiscal year, we've brought these numbers, but I don't think we've juxtaposed them together, was 2.7 million. Over a million more than the previous highest number that was only 1.7 million. That's insane. So when people yell, yeah, dude, the fentanyl problem is a lot your fault. When it's screaming across the border with no inhibitions whatsoever, yeah, it is kind of your fault, dude. So yesterday, Byron Donalds went on CNN after this, after people were saying, well, do you really think the Republicans should be yelling, well, it's your fault? Well, I can see why they're doing it. Watch this clip from Donalds. Again, I've got a little bit of a man crush on him. Not like a big crush, but not like a Doug and Jill crush, which we'll get to in just a second if you're waiting for that. The kiss heard around the world. Stay tuned for that. I don't know, I got a little bit of a crush on him. Check it out.
acknowledge that fentanyl trafficking is a problem, but do you think it's appropriate to put the entire thing on President Biden and say it's your fault in front of a father who lost his daughter to that?
If trafficking of fentanyl is up because of the president's changes, it is his fault. Who are we going to blame? Are you going to blame members of Congress? Are you going to blame the father? You're not going to do that. The president made unilateral changes. The drug cartels have operational control with respect to drug trafficking, because of the president has weakened our border agents' hands. Those are the facts.
I think blaming the entire fentanyl crisis on Biden is a stretch, but I'll move on.
Yeah, that's him saying, basically holding his ground, saying, look, the only reason we're blaming it is because it seems to be his fault. When he took office, this exploded. And certainly not every single fentanyl death / illegal immigrant coming across the country is directly related, but the huge surge most certainly is. And okay, as promised, we will get to the best part of the SOTU. I think that the SOTU, I've probably made it very clear, I think that the SOTU should go away and we should never hear it again. And I would love to aid in the killing of the SOTU, but it does bring us moments like this. This is a fantastic moment brought to you by the State of the Union address. Doug Emhoff and Jill Biden with a warm embrace as they entered the room for the SOTU. Watch this. If you haven't seen the kiss heard around the world, this is just great. And don't worry, not only are we going to play it 4 times, it is slowed down even slower each time and even zoomed in, so you can get the full effect of secret love that is in the air in this forbidden coupling of 2 powerful people. Check this out. This was, okay, so Joe Biden entered and then basically kissed Kamala Harris' husband on the lips, if you're not privy to this. Watch this. I think she knows too. I think she knows that both of them they went for the cheek kiss. And she knows that they both went to the same side. It's like, oh shoot, I just kissed this guy on the lips. Look at her face. I think she knows, oh no, I'm gonna be a meme. I'm gonna be a meme, and there's nothing I can do about it. Dang you, Doug. Why didn't we rehearse kissing on the cheek earlier? That's kind of what her face looks like. Jan says, that kiss. Marcel says, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Yeah, sorry about that. There's nothing. Yeah. Wow, some of the comments here are pretty interesting. Well, anyways. So that's the kiss heard around the world. Let's see. Bottom line here is, and I hate to kind of go over this again, the SOTU is dumb. And if you've been watching from the beginning, you've heard this entire screed of me thinking that we should get rid of the State of the Union. It is stupid. It is unnecessary. It is just a government-sanctioned political speech, which is illegal, by the way. Just so you know, the politics and the governance side are supposed to be separate. That's why you hear KJP, what is it? Did she talk about Article 5? I forget which article it is. It's either Article 5 or Article 11, or it's neither of those, and I'm completely stupid. But KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, often from the press briefing room says, well, I can't get into politics because this is an official government podium, and I can't do this and that and all that sort of stuff. And she continues to use that as an excuse, yet the president goes on and gives official addresses stating things that are very, very clearly political on government platforms, and which, again, is technically illegal. But will the FEC bring that to account? Probably not, no. Okay, so I'm going to leave the SOTU there because I want to get to this. This is not all that important. This is not newsworthy at all. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a suit here because, not a suit, I'm wearing a jacket. I'm dressed up today because I've got to go. I'm jumping right off of this and going on to, what is it? Victory Channel, I believe, to do their news hour. So if you get Victory Channel, you can see me on there in a little bit. So that's what's going on here. I don't generally try that hard in the mornings. But I wanted to get to this. LeBron James became the NBA's all-time scoring leader, and that's fine. If you don't watch basketball, that's okay. I want you to watch something that I saw while watching this game that I thought was pretty dang hilarious. In that it was a look into the mind of somebody who may not quite understand the gravity of the moment. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has held this record for decades, and LeBron James finally broke it. On the last possession, I want you to watch one of the taller guys in the middle. I didn't feel like looking up his names. I didn't care that much. But I want you to watch the guy in the middle as LeBron's taking the last shot. Check this out. Watch this, and we'll discuss on the other side as much as we care to talk about basketball and the political talk show. Check it out.
Looking for James. He's got it. Coming to the end of the third quarter. LeBron James, a shot at history. LeBron stands alone. The NBA's all-time scoring record now belongs to LeBron James.
All right, so if you didn't miss it, if you saw that there, great. If you missed it, there was a guy in the paint with LeBron James having the ball 1 point away from breaking the all-time NBA scoring record, a huge feat that nobody ever thought anybody would break. This guy is calling for the ball in the paint. Like, oh, I'm open. Hey, LeBron, I'm open. Again, not quite understanding the gravity of the moment that LeBron James is about to break the world record, or the NBA record, and still thinking, wait, no, you could pass me the ball. That's also an option. I also wanted to bring this up because LeBron James, undercover Charlie Kirk fan. Fun thing happened over the weekend that I don't think I talked about yet. So remember February 1st, if you've been watching the show, February 1st, I shared this Morgan Freeman video talking about how Black History Month is stupid, because it is. Morgan Freeman was asked by Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes several years ago. Mike Wallace was like, you think Black History Month is, and then Morgan Freeman says, ridiculous. Anyways, I shared that video on here. I shared it on my Instagram. And then a colleague of mine, good buddy Charlie Kirk, posted that video. And then interestingly enough, LeBron James watched that video and then shared it to his story, shared Charlie's video to his story, and then subsequently deleted it. So secretly, LeBron James thinks Morgan Freeman is right and correct that Black History Month is stupid, and we shouldn't relegate Black history to a single month because Black history is American history. And LeBron James likes that sentiment, but can't be seen sharing a Charlie Kirk post, therefore deleted it. But we see you, LeBron James, secret Turning Point USA super fan and NBA scoring leader LeBron James. Thank you so much for the vote of confidence. Very, very much appreciated. Best of luck in your future endeavors as an NBA player. Let's see. All right, that'll do it for us today. This is, we kind of stuck on the whole SOTU thing for a long time, and appreciate you sticking around through that. If you missed any of my tyrannical rant on why the SOTU is stupid, feel free to go watch that, rewatch it back on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere you watch it. If you haven't already, this is probably the most viewers we've gotten in a very long time to watch me rant about how the SOTU is stupid. But if you haven't already, would really, really appreciate it if you click the little like button and the little share button right down here. And let us know in the comment section what you think about the SOTU. Should it go away? Is Joe Biden ushering in the exit of the State of the Union address? Hopefully. But you wouldn't imagine how much it helps if you click the little like button or the little reaction button. It doesn't need to be a like, could be an angry thing. But yeah, would really, really appreciate you doing that. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media accounts. Just type in JOBOB pretty much anywhere. Just JOBOB. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of those channels. And you can continue the conversation there. Also, we've got a bunch of tour dates coming up, and I keep saying that without actually giving any indication as to where we're going. But the month of March will be all over the country, including San Diego, Santa Barbara, New Jersey, Louisiana, Ohio, Texas, Kentucky, Chicago, all of those places. You can come see me there. And again, one of these days, I'll put a link somewhere that you can click if you're in any of those areas and you would like to come see myself, Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens. Should be a rockin' time with the TPUSA Live Free Tour. That being said, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. Maybe. Well, I'm trying to work something out. I'm going to be in Phoenix tomorrow, but we're also going to be filming something. So I'm considering doing a show live from Phoenix with a friend of mine because we're filming at that exact same time. And I'm thinking maybe we'll just live stream it and that'll be the Daily Caller live show tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow. But yeah, appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and let's get rid of the SOTU. God bless America.